And guys, in this next news story, months of undercover surveillance helped specialist officers to convict 11 people for their involvement in a large-scale drug supply conspiracy. The group appeared at Gloucester Crown Court for sentencing in person, where they'd received a combined sentence of 54 years and 6 months in prison. The investigation saw serious and organised crime unit officers conduct covert inquiries into the Polo drugs line, which allowed them to gather evidence against the offenders and prove their involvement in supplying more than 5 kilos of Class A drugs. The line was run by a 32-year-old Uwais Hassanjee and his right-hand men, Kazi Ahmed and Jamil Ahmed, were both 23 years old. Hassanjee, who has past convictions for drug dealing, chose the name for his drugs line as it was also his nickname, Polo. This was used to his advantage in the drugs trade, creating a brand which his 300 customers could recognize and trust. He played a leading role and was the controlling influence on others in the group. He would source bulk quantities of Class A drugs, heroin and coke, and periodically take them to Gloucestershire himself for honoured supplier employ a group of people to transport the supply on his behalf. Surveillance officers observed as Hassanjee recruited a 24-year-old Bradley McPhee, a 30-year-old Daniel Brady, and a 21-year-old Kieran Windsor. He involved them into the conspiracy with the promise of a lavish lifestyle and free accommodation in Cheltenham. On the 15th of September 2022, officers detained the three men whilst they appeared to be in the process of dealing drugs. Searches of the property uncovered a total of 60 grams of crack and around 153 grams of heroin. Cash was counted and it's found to total around $2.5 grand. A number of videos were recovered of Hassanjee's dealers filming themselves the money they had made and the drugs they were supplying. Some of his dealers were so happy in their work that they recorded videos to recruit friends to come and join them. In one video, McPhee was seen telling friends that he was having his last spliff in Blackburn Town, as Bradley is going to Gloucestershire for a long time, and in another he said he was the biggest grafter you'd ever see. You won't come across a grafter like me ever again. A month later, another runner, 21-year-old Hassan Ahmed, was identified to be working for Hassanjee in Cheltenham while under supervision of Kazi Ahmed. On the 19th of October 2022, officers saw a taxi leaving Hassanjee's address in Leicester and heading towards Gloucestershire. The vehicle was intercepted as it entered Cheltenham, and officers found Kazi Ahmed and a 19-year-old Emily Barbosa in the car along with a bag of Class A drugs in the boot. This was found to contain a block of heroin weighing around 248 grams and 37 grams of cocaine compacted into a solid and residual powder. There was an additional 26 grams of cocaine which had been divided into 39 wraps. In November 2022, officers were watching an address in Cheltenham where Hassanjee had housed and was supervising his latest drugs runner, a 24-year-old Levi Grieve. These officers saw a vehicle arrive which had travelled from the Leicestershire area, and they forced entry into the address to arrest the occupants and found Hassanjee, Jamil Ahmed and Grieve in possession of a kilo of drugs along with a large quantity of cash. Samir Khan, whose involvement stopped by the time of his arrest, was one of Hassanjee's trusted drivers and transported the group between Leicester and Cheltenham. He also drove others to deliver drugs around Cheltenham. Khan admitted to driving Hassanjee but was unaware that he was couriering drugs, and he said when he found out he stopped working for Hassanjee. As with McPhee, Darby, Windsor and Grieve, 28-year-old Lucas Janoff had also been recruited by Hassanjee to come and deal drugs in Cheltenham. His involvement had also stopped prior to an arrest. All this activity provided investigating officers with evidence to suggest that approximately £7,000 was being made by the group each day from selling Class A. This was an enterprise worth hundreds of thousands of pounds, and those in charge money gained by targeting vulnerable drug users in Gloucestershire. The group received the following sentences. Uwais Hassanjee got 10 years and 7 months. Kazi Ahmed got 8 years and 3 months. Jamil Ahmed got 6 years and 10 months. Samir Khan got 6 years and 10 months. Bradley McPhee got 7 years. Daniel Darby got 5 years and 4 months. And then you got a few other guys, Kieran Winter, Lucas Janoff, Levi Grieve, Emily Barbosa, Hassan Ahmed, they all got suspended sentences. I think Lucas, he got 5 years and 2 months, and Levi got 4 years and 6 months. Detective Inspector Matt Phillips from the Serious and Organised Crime Unit said, I hope that these sentences will send out an extremely strong message to anyone who's planning on committing similar offences. We would like to remind drug dealers that you are not untouchable or above the law, as officers at Gloucester Constabulary work tirelessly to gather evidence against you and will secure a conviction against you. The Crown Advocate at the CPS said the level of arrogance displayed in the videos and photographs is staggering. Far from being a victimless way to make money, drug-related crime is corrosive. It damages not only those involved in buying and selling and their families, but the communities in which they live. The CPS is committed to working with the police to disrupt the supply of drugs by bringing those involved to justice and ensuring they do not profit from their criminality. This was a particularly complex investigation by Gloucestershire SOCU, and it was a privilege to be able to work alongside them and provide advice from their very first arrest.
And guys, in this next news story, a man was caught out after eagle-eyed officers spotted him counting his drugs money. Dominic Lowe, who's 30, was spotted in his black VW Golf in the West Park area of Leeds on the 18th of May 2022. Prosecutor Amy Levitt told Leeds Crown Court that an officer spotted a passenger getting out of the vehicle and decided to drive past the Golf, where he spotted Lowe appearing to be counting money. Ms. Levitt said he pulled out and the officer allowed him to pass. He followed the vehicle and requested to stop, and the defendant was the driver and sole occupant of the vehicle. The search was carried out and he admitted being in possession of drugs, and he produced wraps. The court heard the wraps of crack with a street value of £1,000 were discovered, as well as wraps of heroin with a street value of £750. 2 mobile phones were seized, as was £150 in various notes. The prosecutor said the former carpet fitter Lowe's home was searched and 2 sets of digital scales were recovered and shedded. The phones, one of which was described as a burner phone, showed no evidence of drug stealing. It was said Lowe was already serving an 8-year sentence for his role as a courier, which saw him get involved with a drugs operation involving 35 kilos of cocaine. The drug offence he fell to be sentenced for on Wednesday predated that. In mitigation, his solicitor Abdul Shakur told the court, "It is clear that custody is the only option. The question is the length of the sentence." He was a carpet fitter working self-employed, and he had his own vehicle, and understandable. As a result of COVID, his work dried up. He didn't have any means to provide and was given the opportunity to get involved in drug dealing, and it was doing what he was doing, and he got caught out doing it. He said, "We don't shy away from the fact that he was involved as a result of his financial situation." The court heard that Lowe does not have a drug habit himself and is now paying the consequences of him being involved. Mr. Shakur said the greatest impact will be on Lowe's partner and children. Her Honour, Judge Rayfield jailed Lowe for 2 years and he will be served consecutive to the sentence he is currently serving, he was told. So guys, there's a couple of news stories. It's your boy GT. Keep it locked, keep it real.